Morning guys, hope you're doing well. On today's video I just wanted to talk about this steering because I haven't really explained the problems I'm actually having. I've said obviously it's light and blah blah, but today I just wanted to talk about how it's actually affecting my driving. So for example today, don't know if you can see, it's actually raining. If there's any like puddles on the side of the road, because the steering's so light now, when you traverse through the puddles, the steering's basically dipping in very easy, because obviously the water is actually like effectively causing the tyre as it goes through the tread to actually pull, so it just dips in very easy, which means I'm having to make those corrections. The same applies when you're going over a broken bitumen. It will dip a lot easier than it would do because there's no resistance in the rack. The same is if there's adverse cambers in the road, so if the side of the camber of the road is actually slightly maybe sunken, or it just might be the way that the lay of the road is, again the car will pull very easy into that instead of say riding over it. Potholes are notoriously one of the biggest problems, in the fact that when you go over them, even if they're small ones, whereas before the steering would ride over them and feel very solid, it'd be really like stiff to move it, now it just pulls in. So I'm having to make those constant inputs, let alone like when I'm just driving down the road as normal, and you've got even factors like wind. So the wind effectively, like last week towards the weekend, it was actually very windy, so we had a lot of crosswinds, and again you're constantly like making little tiny inputs all the time, whereas before it would just be so solid that there was none of that. So that's all I just wanted to get across in this video, so just make it a little bit easier. Maybe if the engineers that are actually going to be doing the work on the 18th will actually understand it. Now moving on from that, I've actually done some research into these electric steering systems, and there's two types of electric steering systems. There's one where you've got a standard rack and pinion like you would do in the traditional sense, whether it was hydraulically assisted, but most electrical steering systems normally have, apart from other electronics like the torque sensor and stuff when you're doing inputs on the steering wheel, the electric motor is either up on the actual column itself, so the steering column passes through that, or alongside that and then goes through the electric motor, which has got like obviously gears and sensors on it, or the other type is actually down on the rack itself, so it will run like parallel attached to the rack, and obviously that will take up the slack. Now what I'm actually thinking is that with mine, I did initially think it could be the torque sensor, but because it's so loose all of the time anyway, I'm actually thinking it's the electric motor, and more importantly I actually think the magnets, I assume it's magnets in there that's actually controlling the electric motor, could possibly have failed, don't know, but I'm actually more inclined to think that it is actually the electric motor, only because if it was just like at the moment, like it's so light, I'm just moving it, there's just no resistance, and surely the torque sensor, maybe the torque sensor may have, I don't know, I'm just guessing. I'm just assuming that an electric motor is something that's actual physical. A sensor would actually pick up your first movement, and the torque sensor would actually then send, unless the torque sensor is actually broken as well and it's not sending the strength that should be going into the electric motor. Don't know, maybe they both need replacing. Anyway guys, just thought I'd do this little quick update on what I'm actually getting with the steering, and if you get a similar set of circumstances further down the line when you actually get to these kind of miles, that's the whole point of doing this vlog, so effectively we can actually help each other. Anyway guys, I hope you have a good Monday, and as I say, my next video that's going up will be my 40,000 mile update, where I'll do another check on the battery and post a screenshot so we can all see how the battery's performing, and we'll go from the 18th when I get the car in regarding the steering and obviously all of the other bits and bobs that it's going in for. Anyway guys, I'll speak to you guys soon. Bye for now.